What can I tell you about our final storyteller? She's been working for Mount Sinai for almost 4 years, first as a health manager for the Children's Health Home, and then as a clinical research coordinator for a psychosis risk lab. In her spare time, she loves to romanticize New York City by going for runs in the park, going to Broadway shows and concerts, and methodically hunting down the best croissant in the city. So please put your hands together for Abby Fogarty.
It's Sunday morning, and my family has decided to attend church. We are not a consistent church family, more like once or twice a month church family, and that's because the church we attend is in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we live in Gastonia, North Carolina, and it's a pretty far drive. So when it is a church Sunday, I have to wake up early and put on my nice clothes and eat breakfast in the car and play I Spy with my little brother in the back seat for 45 minutes straight. And I kind of dread it. But it's not really about any of those things. And it's not about the church either. I actually really like the church. It's a liberal church that encourages free thinking and logic and learning. So much learning. My 6th grade Sunday school classes are called religious education, and we learn. We learn about religion and poetry and even science. And I am always behind on the curriculum, and it really bothers me. And I also have this feeling that the other middle schoolers are like expert level free thinkers. So as often as I can, to avoid being exposed in front of these sophisticated preteens, I volunteer to help with the little kids. My thinking skills definitely feel superior when I'm with the 2s, 3s, and 4s. And I really like working with the little kids. I like helping to distract them during their meltdowns at drop-off and observing their nonsensical but very cute little conversations with each other, and trying to figure out creative and fun ways to engage their tiny attention spans during class. By the time I'm in high school, I've been promoted to the religious education preschool teacher. And I plan out and lead the preschool classes every week despite the drive, and I really, really enjoy it. Even more so because it means I don't have to attend my own religious education classes anymore. The time passes and I attend college, and suddenly it's time to graduate college, and even more suddenly, I am graduating into a global pandemic. I need to figure out a plan, and I also need to make some money, so I get a job with AmeriCorps, which really only helps with one of those things, because I'm making a stipend and I move to the most expensive city in the country. But I do figure out my plan. I want to get my PhD in clinical psychology. I love people, I love science, and I love the idea of having my domain of expertise. So becoming a people science expert sounds perfect. I know for a PhD, I need research experience, and so I start applying to all of these jobs. But at the same time, I'm talking with Iris. Iris is a social worker and a regional manager for the New York City Department of Education Students and Temporary Housing team, where I have been working for AmeriCorps. Iris is also the most New York person I have ever met. She is tough, she's direct, she's efficient, and she is passionate. I equally admire Iris, and I fear her. I confide in Iris that as much as I know I should be pursuing research, I am feeling torn in a different direction. I've spent the past year watching her and all of these other social workers doing such important work on the ground with kids, and I have this itch to do something, and I really miss working with kids. I asked Iris if she thinks that maybe I should consider looking for some other kind of positions, like in clinical work. Iris says, absolutely not. She says, you've got what it takes to get the PhD. Do not get stuck in some detour role. You're too smart for that. I really appreciate Iris's words. They mean a lot to me. At the same time, I do not believe her. I've been applying for these research jobs, and when I interview, I feel like a complete imposter. I am talking to these experts in their field, and I can't imagine how I could ever become so accomplished, so intelligent, and so all-knowing. Luckily, Iris gives me an out. She knows a guy, like Iris always does, and he works for a children's health home program, and they're hiring. So I interview, and with Iris's begrudging blessing, I accept that position. I just can't help it. It's an opportunity to do concrete work with kids, and I decide a quick detour will not hurt. I'll have some fun working with the kids, and then I'll get back to the more serious business of becoming a people science expert. So I start my super fun job at the children's health home, and I am so excited to get to work. I'm so excited to meet the kids, and I meet the kids, and they are mostly suicidal, some homicidal. There are 22 of them assigned to me, and I meet them for home visits across New York City, mostly in the public housing projects. As you can imagine, with kids who want to die and/or want you to die, they aren't always in the mood to meet their new worker who has shown up quite literally on their doorstep. But I am determined to build these relationships. And I have one thing on my side, which is pent-up post-pandemic energy. You aren't attending your therapy appointments, I will escort you there. You keep oversleeping for your school bus in the morning, I will call you at 6 a.m. every day to make sure that you're up. You hate your psychiatrist and secretly stopped taking your medications 3 months ago. All right, let's talk about why, and then we can go tell her together. One day, I'm in the field running around doing my home visits, and a kid's name lights up on my phone. We'll call her Maya. Maya's one of my favorite kids, but she was also one of my most standoffish at the beginning. I don't think I got anything beyond a head nod or a for the first couple months I worked with her. But slowly, sometimes painfully, we had built a relationship. Those head nods turned into complete sentences, which turned into long, vulnerable conversations. They turned into long, vulnerable conversations. Sorry, I just need 1 minute. Thank you. Long, vulnerable conversations. Hang on. 1 more minute. Can you clap again? And I'll just like, yeah. Keep going. Okay, yeah, there we go. Okay, so when I reach that level of trust with a kid, it is very delicate and very special, and it means so much to me. It also means I can be better at my job, which is understanding the kids' strengths and their weaknesses and their struggles so that we can work together to make a plan of how to move in the right direction. So when I see Maya's name on my phone, I start thinking. All of the tabs of my brain shift from my other clients to this specific kid and the things we need to do to move her in the right direction, the goals that we're working towards, what that next step will be. And I answer her call mid-stride, ready to take that next step. And before I can say anything, from her first shaky breath, I know that Maya's not okay. She tells me in a panic that the voices in her head are telling her to hurt herself. And she's scared, and she needs help. My heart drops, and the adrenaline begins to surge, but my voice is calm over the phone as I ask her where she is she hurt, is anybody else with her? I happen to be close to her apartment, so I walk over and I meet her out front, and together we walk to the nearest emergency room as she tries to describe to me the chaos that's happening in her mind. Towards the end of Maya's stay in the hospital, I organize a care conference, which is a meeting of all of the providers to discuss the patient's well-being and their treatment plan. It's essentially a gathering of all of the experts in one place. Maya, like a lot of the kids that I work with, doesn't have a lot of consistent providers. She has a lot of her cases closed due to noncompliance, so a lot of the providers only know her from her stay in the hospital or maybe haven't even met her yet for the first time. As I'm listening to these experts talking about their various domains of therapy and medicine, education, legal support, housing support, I find myself chiming in. I'm sharing about my experience with this kid during our home visits and our phone calls, the things that she's told me about her family dynamics and her mood and the voices, and the things I've observed about her behavior, how her sleep habits have changed, her speech patterns, even the things she wants to talk about or does not want to talk about. And the experts are listening because my domain of expertise is Maya. Actually, for all 22 kids on my caseload, I've earned a degree of expertise in knowing them. And I'm in rooms where that expertise really matters. I've come to understand that expertise maybe isn't sophistication or being all-knowing. It's just earned knowledge in one corner of things, and knowing your corner well enough to share it with others in a way that makes a difference. And I know I still want to get back on my science track towards that PhD eventually, but I stay in that role, my detour role, for 3 years because I am a people expert in 22 very important domains.
Keep it going for Abby!